You're holding a ticking time bomb right now and you don't even realize it. Because everyone does it. Everyone carries their cell phone in their pants pocket, leaves it charging under their pillow while they sleep, uses the device pressed against their ear for hours while solving problems or talking to that special someone. And nobody ever stopped to think that that thin, elegant object full of cutting-edge technology might be literally destroying your body from the inside in ways you never imagined possible. The truth is that smartphone manufacturers don't want you to know this. Phone companies hide crucial information, and even governments around the world prefer to keep certain data away from public knowledge because revealing everything would create widespread panic that could bring down a trillion-dollar industry overnight. But today you're going to discover exactly what's happening inside your body while that cell phone vibrates in your pocket, and when you finish reading this, you'll never look at your smartphone the same way again. First, let's talk about radiation. And no, this isn't conspiracy theory or the ramblings of a crazy person wearing a tinfoil hat. It's real science, proven and documented in hundreds of studies around the world showing how cell phones emit radiofrequency electromagnetic radiation all the time, constantly, even when you're not actively using the device. This radiation is classified by the World Health Organization as possibly carcinogenic to humans, category to B, which puts cell phones in the same risk group as lead, engine exhaust fumes, and certain pesticides. But nobody tells you this when you leave the store with that brand new iPhone or latest generation Samsung. The real problem begins when you understand that this radiation doesn't just stay in the air around the device. It penetrates your body tissues, especially when the cell phone is in direct contact with the skin and the closer the device is to vital organs. The greater the absorption of this energy. When you carry your cell phone in your front pants pocket, this radiation is being absorbed directly by your reproductive organs. And dozens of studies have already demonstrated a frightening correlation between frequent cell phone use in pockets and a dramatic reduction in sperm quality, with decreased sperm count, reduced motility, and an increase in sperm with abnormal morphology. Universities around the world have confirmed this, but the billion-dollar smartphone industry continues to sell millions of units per day without any serious warning about the risks. Now, think about it. How many hours a day do you spend with your cell phone glued to your head during long calls? And did you know that the radiation emitted during a call increases exponentially because the device needs to maintain a constant connection with cell towers, sending and receiving signals all the time? This radiation is being absorbed directly by your brain, and studies show that prolonged cell phone use may be related to the development of specific brain tumors, especially gliomas and acoustic neuromas, which are types of cancer that appear precisely in the brain regions most exposed to phone radiation. A massive study conducted in Sweden followed thousands of people for over 10 years and found that those who used cell phones for more than 1,000 hours a day had a significantly higher risk of developing tumors on the side of their head where they usually held the phone. 1,000 hours seems like a lot, but do the math. If you spend only 30 minutes a day on calls, in less than 6 years, you've already reached that number. And most people use it much more than that. The industry responds by saying that cell phones are within the safety limits established by regulatory bodies. But what they don't mention is that these limits were established decades ago, when cell phones were much less powerful, and people used them much less. Furthermore, these limits only consider the heating of tissues caused by radiation, completely ignoring the non-thermal biological effects that occur at much lower levels of exposure. And there's more, much more, because cell phones don't just kill you through radiation. There's another invisible danger that nobody talks about but has already caused dozens of documented deaths around the world. And we're talking about the lithium-ion batteries that power these devices. You've probably seen news about cell phones exploding in someone's pocket or catching fire while charging in bed, or even cases of people suffering severe burns because their smartphone battery overheated and literally melted. But did you know that these aren't just isolated accidents caused by defective products? The truth is that all lithium-ion batteries have the potential to become extremely dangerous under certain conditions, especially when exposed to excessive heat, when they suffer physical damage from falls or impacts, or when they are charged with non-original chargers that lack adequate safety systems. When a lithium-ion battery undergoes thermal collapse, it can reach temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius in a matter of seconds, releasing toxic gases and creating a chain reaction that results in an explosion or intense fire that is virtually impossible to extinguish with conventional methods. There have been cases of people who died from suffocation due to toxic smoke released by a cell phone catching fire while they slept. Others suffered third-degree burns when the device exploded in their pants pocket. And there are even records of airplanes that had to make emergency landings because a cell phone caught fire inside the cabin, instantly putting hundreds of lives at risk. But the danger doesn't stop there, because there's something even more insidious happening while you use your cell phone every day, and it has to do with the psychological and neurological impact these devices have on your brain in ways that completely alter who you are as a person. Researchers have discovered that excessive smartphone use is literally restructuring our brains, changing how we process information, how we maintain attention, how we relate to other people, and even how we experience emotions. The cell phone was purposefully designed to addict you, using the same psychological principles that casinos use with slot machines, creating a cycle of variable rewards that releases dopamine in your brain every time you receive a notification, a like, a message, keeping you in a constant state of anxiety and a need to compulsively check the device. Studies show that the average person checks their cell phone more than 150 times a day, and this compulsive behavior is associated with extremely high levels of anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, concentration problems, and even structural changes in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, the region responsible for impulse control and decision-making. Teenagers who grew up with smartphones show rates of depression and anxiety 3 times higher than previous generations, and there is a direct correlation between screen time and the risk of suicide among young people. But technology companies continue to create increasingly addictive features because the more time you spend on your cell phone, the more money they make from advertising and data collection. Now comes the part that will really keep you up at night, because in addition to all that, your cell phone is killing you in a more literal and immediate way through something you do every day without thinking twice. And we're talking about using your cell phone while driving. The statistics are absolutely terrifying. More than 1,400 deaths occur every year in the United States alone due to accidents related to cell phone use while driving, and this number represents only confirmed deaths because many fatal accidents cannot be traced back to cell phone use. Due to lack of evidence, when you look at your cell phone while driving, even if it's just for 2 seconds to check a notification, you are essentially driving blind and at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Your car travels more than 40 meters in those 2 seconds, a distance more than enough to collide with another vehicle, run over a pedestrian, or completely leave the road. Studies prove that driving while using a cell phone is as dangerous as drunk driving, and in some cases even more dangerous, because at least the intoxicated person is looking at the road, while the person on the cell phone completely takes their eyes off the traffic. But the worst part is that most people think they can do both things at the same time, because they absurdly overestimate their multitasking abilities, when in reality the human brain simply wasn't designed to process multiple complex tasks simultaneously, and what appears to be multitasking is actually the brain rapidly switching between tasks, losing critical information with each switch. And if you think that using headphones means you're safe, you need to know that studies show that even hands-free conversations significantly reduce your ability to react to dangers in traffic, because the brain continues to divide resources between the conversation and driving. The number of families destroyed, lives lost, futures canceled because of someone who thought they could take a quick look at their cell phone is absolutely devastating. And the most tragic thing is that each of these deaths was completely avoidable. All it took was keeping the cell phone out of reach while driving. There are documented cases of people who ran over children, caused pileups involving dozens of vehicles, crashed head-on, killing entire families, all because they couldn't resist the temptation to check a message that probably wasn't even important. Think about the cruel irony of dying or killing someone because of an Instagram notification, a WhatsApp emoji, a work email that could wait 5 minutes. So, to recap everything you've learned here, Your cell phone emits radiation that may be damaging your reproductive organs and increasing your risk of brain cancer. It carries a battery that could literally explode and burn you alive. It was designed to addict you and is destroying your mental health, and it distracts you to the point of turning you into a deadly threat when you're driving. But do you know what's even scarier than all of that? It's the fact that even knowing all these dangers, most people will continue using their cell phones in exactly the same way because convenience, addiction, and social pressure are stronger than concern for future consequences. We are the first generation in human history living through a mass experiment with a technology whose long-term consequences are still completely unknown. And when we finally have all the answers about the real impact of smartphones on human health, it may be too late to reverse the damage. But you don't have to become a statistic. You can take steps right now to drastically reduce your exposure to these risks. Simple things like never carrying your phone in your pants pocket, using wired headphones during long calls to keep the device away from your head, never sleeping with your phone on and close to your body, activating airplane mode whenever possible, establishing screen-free times every day, and above all, never, ever touching your phone while driving. If you have children, these precautions are even more critical because children and teenagers are much more vulnerable to the effects of radiation due to their thinner skulls and developing brains. So establishing healthy limits on technology use early on can literally save their lives in the future. Now that you know the truth about what your cell phone might be doing to you, I need you to do 3 important things right now. First, leave a comment below telling me if you carry your phone in your pocket, sleep with it near your head, or use it while driving, because I want to know how many people are exposing themselves to these risks without knowing it. Second, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell because I'm going to continue bringing you truths that nobody else dares to talk about. Information that can literally save your life. And third, leave a like if you think more people need to know about these hidden dangers that everyone ignores. Speaking of shocking information that can completely change your perspective on everyday things, you can't miss the next video because I'm going to reveal something even more disturbing that's happening right under your nose. So click on that video that's appearing on your screen right now and continue discovering these mind-blowing facts. Don't leave it for later because this knowledge can make all the difference in your life. So go ahead and click now.